Hey guys, it's Russell back with 9th Gen Accord. On today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to do an oil change on your 9th Gen Accord. The car we're going to be working on is a 2015 Honda Accord 4-door LX 6-speed 4-cylinder. I'm going to show you a few things. I'm going to show you how to change the oil and filter. I'm going to show you how to reset your maintenance minder back to 100%, and I'm going to show you how to pull an oil sample if you want to send the oil off to a lab and have it analyzed. So stay tuned, we'll be right back, and I'll show you how to get this job done and get it done correctly. Alright, so on today's project, these are the parts that I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using a factory Honda A01 oil filter. There's the part number. The A01 or A02 work fine. The A01 is the better of the two. I'm going to be using the AMSOIL Signature Series 0W20. I've got a socket wrench with a 17 millimeter, and this is an oil filter adapter or wrench, if you want to call it. It fits on the ratchet and fits to the curvatures, the flutes on the filter, makes taking it off very, very easy. There's your Honda part number. And that's what you need to get this job done. Oh, also I'm going to be using a factory Honda drain plug crush washer. Okay, so on the new generation of Hondas, they have a maintenance minder. So this is how you know that you need to change your oil. See that? Oil life is at 15% and it has code 1A. Also, in the corner right there is the maintenance wrench, and when you start your car, that maintenance wrench is going to illuminate. It will only do this at 15% and below. The mileage is 8,350. The light, actually, the wrench illuminated, and we dropped down to 15% of the maintenance minder at 8,270 miles. This car still has the factory oil in it, and we're going to give it its very first oil change. Alright, so I've got the car up on my blocks. I've got the rear wheel chock so the car cannot go anywhere. It's in gear and it's in the emergency brake is set. Now I know everybody's seen people on YouTube take this cap off, the oil fill cap off, and say it's going to help the oil drain better. Well, that is not true. That is a myth. They're talking about, when they're thinking about that, is about the cooling system. If you're draining your cooling system and you don't remove the cap, it will drain very, very slow. This has absolutely nothing to do with the oil draining. And to prove that, I'm going to leave this on. It's tight. I'm not going to remove that at all. The reason that this cap has to be removed when you're doing the cooling system is because the cooling system is always under pressure. Even when the engine's off, it's under a slight pressure. This system is the oil system. The oiling system in the engine is only under pressure when the engine is running. And this has, this is not airtight. The dipstick's not airtight. Your intake is not airtight. It's not a system that's closed like the cooling system. So, with that being said, we're going to go underneath the car. And I've got my drain plug here, or my drain pan, sorry. Make sure that when you're doing this, you know where you're draining from, alright? This is the transmission, this is the engine. We're draining the engine oil, and Honda has even put engine oil with an arrow to denote this bolt right here. It is of course, a 17 millimeter. You can use either a socket, preferably a 6-point socket, or you can use a wrench. Now, since I'm going to be taking an oil sample and sending it off to 2 different companies for comparison, I'm going to use a brand new clean disposable cup. I'm going to let the oil flow for about 4 or 5 seconds. Then I'm going to almost fill this cup up and set it aside so that I can get my sample distributed to both companies. It's a lot easier to fill this cup up and then put it in the tiny jar that it needs to be than trying to stick that jar up here. It spills everywhere. Alright, just for comparison later, this is 8,300 mile oil. I guarantee you when I get the oil analysis back from the lab, it will say this oil is still good for continued use. And please note, this is conventional oil. This is not synthetic oil. This is the factory conventional oil that they put in the engine to help with the break-in of the engine. But as you can see, it's still an amber color, and it's not dark black or sludged up or anything like that. So just a word to those people that don't trust the maintenance minder. You can change your oil whenever you want to, but I'm just going to show you, and then we'll see with the oil analysis from two different companies that this oil is still going to be good. But we're changing it anyway because the car is under warranty, and we don't want any hassles down the road. Alright, so I went ahead and loosened the drain plug bolt. I'm going to do this very quickly. The bolt's rather long, so the oil is going to shoot out a pretty good distance. So we're going to do this. Wait a couple seconds. 1001. Okay. There we go. Now see, it's pretty messy, but it's easier to do it this way than to do it with the tiny little sample cup that they give you. Alright, so what I've done is I've got our filter adapter here, and I did not include this in the parts list, but I put a little 2-inch extension on there, which will make it a little easier. Place that up like that. And this filter is, the factory filters are going to be fairly tight. So I just get it loose, take the keep the adapter on there and try not to spill the oil everywhere. That's why we put down cardboard, but okay. And I'm just going to let this drain. In addition, on this video, we're going to cut open this oil filter, and I want to show you what it looks like after 8,300 miles. Alright, so what I usually do on a new oil filter is I'll write the mileage, which is 8350, the date, which is January 31st, 2016, and then I'm going to pre-fill the filter with a little bit of oil, and then I will go ahead and clean the area up under the surface. I'll show you that where the filter is. I'll also add a little bit of oil here on the gasket, and then we'll go ahead and put the filter back on. Alright, here is where the filter mounts. I just took a clean paper towel and cleaned all the way around here. Okay. If you want to use some brake parts cleaner to clean the other areas, some of the oil will drip along the strip rail right here. We'll do that a little later. As you can see, the oil is still got a little bit of a drip here and there, so I'm going to let it keep dripping. We'll go ahead and install the oil filter here. Alright, we've got our new oil filter here, and while we're waiting on this to drip, let's go cut open the old oil filter and see what's inside. Alright, here's the factory Honda oil filter that was originally on the car. It's a Filtech. Okay. So for all you people out there that say that you have to change your oil at 3,000 miles, here in the 2016, this filter's got 8,350 miles on it, so it should be full of sludge, right? Well, I've got a long acre oil filter cutter, and we're going to see how much sludge is in here. This is really the best way to open oil filters because it will not leave any debris. It makes a very clean cut. Much better than a hacksaw or Dremel. Okay. Alright, so we've got the business end that attaches to the engine here. This right here is the anti-drain back valve. And then you've got your threads. Alright, so let's see how much sludge we have in here. 0, none. Where's all the sludge? So what I'm looking at in here is I'm looking for any torn perforations. I'm looking for any weird pieces of metal, and I don't, you know, for the first couple of oil changes there's going to be some residual metals and stuff that just during normal break-in, but there is not one iota of sludge in there. So in the bottom here, this is your pressure relief valve, and then we've got a little bit of oil in there. So I don't know exactly what kind of oil Honda uses. It's kind of a mystery. It's definitely conventional oil. It's not synthetic, but it appears to be doing fine. There's, you know, it's kind of weird because the 1A code is for you to change your oil. And if you go into Honda and just tell them you want the 1A service, they're going to change the oil only, not the filter. Filters actually start, the more debris they get in there, the more efficient they are at filtering. So, you know, this filter could have been left on until the next oil change, and then it would have said, it would have had a B code. But yeah, the filter looks good. No sludge in there at all. So definitely I'm not ever going to worry about it with the AMS oil. So anyway, a lot of people haven't seen the inside of a Honda oil filter, and that's what it is. Alright, so it looks like we've getting maybe one drop every, I don't know, 10 seconds or so. So this probably would drip like this for hours. It's been probably almost an hour. So I'm going to go ahead and put the bolt and new washer back in. Make sure, whatever you do, that you don't cross thread this bolt. This is an aluminum oil pan, so the bolt should go in very easily all the way till it contacts the washer. Alright, now I brought out my torque wrench. The torque on this is 30 foot-pounds, or actually it's 30 pounds-feet. It's the proper way to say it. Usually I just do these snug, but I'm going to go ahead and do this. Okay, it's 30 foot-pounds. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to take some brake parts cleaner and just clean up the frame rail here, and then we'll go up top and add the oil. Alright, so the manual calls for 4.4 quarts of oil. that is what we will do. Okay. Now we'll put our cap back. Put our dipstick back. And we're going to crank the car up and let it run and check for any leaks. Making sure there are no leaks at our drain plugs or around the filter. Everything looks nice and dry, nice and clean. Alright, to reset your maintenance minder light, turn the ignition on, and it may be there, just get it to where it's showing your oil life. Then you're going to take the mode button right here that you would scroll through everything and press and hold it in. Okay, it'll start blinking. Let go of it and hold it in again. And it goes back to 100%. Now we'll turn the car off. Turn it back on, crank it up, and we're back to 100%. Well, I hope this was helpful for you guys. The only other thing that I'm going to do that doesn't need to be shown is I'm going to take the oil sample that I took and split it up into 2 different containers, send each container off to the lab, and when I get the lab report back, I'll do a separate video and we'll compare the results and see if that oil that had 8,350 miles on it had any sludge in it. Guys, this is Russell, and I'll see you on the next video.